In the cold woods of a small town in Colorado, a lone husky stood in the rain, his fur soaked, his ears alert. He had no collar, no name spoken by any human, only scars and silence. People called him many things: stray, wild, untouchable. But on one stormy night, every siren in town began to scream, and searchlights cut through the trees. All because of one missing boy, and the stray husky no one dared to go near. It started like any other peaceful weekend. 4-year-old Noah, bundled in a red jacket, played near the forest's edge while his parents set up lunch by the river trail. Just a few feet away, laughter, the smell of coffee, sunlight through pine trees. Everything felt safe. Then, it happened. A rustling sound, a flash of something white deeper in the woods, and Noah, curious, wandered just a little too far. Minutes passed. His mother turned. "Noah?" Silence. What began as a picnic turned into panic. Shouts echoed. "Noah! Noah!" No response. Then came the radios, the flashing lights, the storm clouds pulling shadows over the trees. And somewhere in that growing darkness, a little boy was alone. As the town mobilized, locals whispered about a dog in the woods, a husky, seen wandering near the river trails. Some swore he once belonged to a family that lived near the old cabin, until their child died in a storm 2 winters ago. After that night, the dog disappeared into the trees. He avoided everyone. He never barked, never begged, never approached a soul. They said he wasn't just a stray. They said he was waiting for something only he understood. Search teams cut through the forest as rain began to fall. Footprints were found, small ones. Then, another set. Not a human's, a dog's. A volunteer murmured, "He's not alone out there." Meanwhile, Noah, cold and terrified, huddled under a fallen tree, rain soaking his jacket. He cried softly, calling for his mother. From the shadows, eyes watched him. The husky stepped forward, slow and cautious. He didn't growl. He didn't bark. He simply lay beside the boy, curling his body around him, shielding him from the wind. And when Noah whimpered, the husky pressed closer, as if remembering another child he once couldn't save. Night fell quickly over the Colorado woods. Temperature dropped. Fast. Search teams were forced to pull back. Too dark, too dangerous. Searchlights flickered through the tree line one last time, then vanished, leaving only the storm. But the husky stayed. By midnight, the forest was silent except for the storm. Rain hammered through the trees, wind cutting like ice. Noah's lips had turned pale, his small body shaking uncontrollably. The husky stood for a moment, as if torn between instinct and memory. Then, he lay directly over Noah, pressing his chest against the boy's to transfer warmth. Every time Noah's breathing grew shallow, the husky nudged his face with his nose, refusing to let him drift off. Lightning cracked across the sky. Thunder rolled through the valley. The husky flinched, not from fear, but from remembering. Somewhere, another child's cry lived in his memory, carried from a storm 2 winters ago. This time, he would not fail. So he stayed awake, all night, shivering, soaked, eyes fixed on the shadows like a soldier on watch. At first light, the rescue teams returned. A search drone picked up movement beneath a cluster of pines, 2 heat signatures pressed close together. Rescuers rushed through the clearing, boots splashing over wet leaves. They expected to recover a body. Instead, they saw Noah, lay unconscious, a husky standing rigid, his body still wrapped protectively over Noah. When a rescuer stepped too close, the husky snapped his head up and growled, low and warning, eyes burning with exhaustion, but still ready to fight for the boy. Even when the rescuers approached, he refused to leave. "Easy, easy," one medic whispered, slowly lowering his flashlight. "We're here to help him." For a moment, the husky didn't trust them. Noah stirred weakly beneath his fur. His fingers moved, searching blindly. The husky instantly lowered himself, letting the boy's hand press against his fur, as if to say, "He's still mine to protect. You take him only if he lets you." And in that moment, the rescuers realized this wasn't a stray. This was a guardian. As Noah was lifted onto a stretcher, his small hand reached out blindly through the air. It didn't reach for the rescuers. It reached for the husky. The dog moved gently forward and pressed his head into Noah's hand, just once, before turning away, ready to disappear into the trees again. But this time, he didn't get far. One of the rescuers, an older forestry officer, stared at the husky, eyes widening. "I've seen him before," he whispered. "That's Ash." The name hung in the air. Ash, the dog who once belonged to the boy lost in the storm 2 years ago. He had laid on that child's grave for weeks, and then vanished into the forest. And now, he had found another child in a storm, and didn't leave this time. Noah survived. Doctors said the only reason his body temperature didn't drop too low was because the husky never left his side. A week later, after Noah fully recovered, his family returned to the trail with a folded blanket and a small bowl of fresh food. They didn't force anything. They simply sat and waited. Minutes passed. Then, from between the trees, Ash appeared. Slow, cautious, but not running this time. The boy, still small and wrapped in a blanket, looked at him and whispered, "Ash?" "Thank you." Noah opened his arms, and for the first time since his past tragedy, Ash stepped forward willingly. From that day on, he didn't return to the woods. He slept on Noah's porch, head resting beside the boy's shoes, as though he finally understood. He had lost a child once. Now, he had been given another to protect. And this time, he wasn't letting go. If stories like Ash's stay with you, stay with us. There are more real heroes waiting in the quiet places of this world.